So, can stocks break out of the current negative trend? Joining us to discuss, Harry Rady, fund manager at Rady Asset Management, and Brett Darcy, chief investment officer at CBIZ Wealth Management. Brett, start with you. Stocks are pricing in an economic stall, as Melissa read at the top of the show. What about the profit stall? I want to know if that's priced in, and is that the next hurdle? Profits.
Well, yeah, definitely profits are a hurdle, but I think with the second quarter earnings that have come out, we have a good indication that we're going to get through that hurdle. As costs were cut from companies as long ago as a year ago, we've seen the margins expand. So I think that we're in a consolidation phase. I mean, if this August was any other August, we would just blame it on the traders not being at their desk. But because it's coming off of a market correction of a year and a half ago, I think people are more sensitive to it. But what's going on in the market today isn't particularly troubling. And I think that if you were to give investors the chance, in April of 2009 to have a 50% return, and then a period of time that it consolidated, I think we would all take that, and that's exactly what we've seen to this point.
Harry, is that true, or the profits that Brett is talking about, are they backward-looking and we're slowing further from here?
I think that I largely agree with Brett. I think that this sort of push-pull between macro economics and the geopolitical issues up against positive earnings in general, frankly, I think it's healthy. I think it allows sort of a shakeout for the lower quality companies to trade at lower valuations where they should be. And it'll take some of the higher quality companies with them, which is creating opportunity for long-short investors like us. But in an increasingly volatile, sideways trading environment, long-short is the place to be.
Okay, so tell us what your picks are then.
Well, we're long some of the cheaper technology companies. I was going to talk about McAfee. We own it, and the stock got taken out. But we own stocks like that, and one of them is RIM. RIM's trading at 9 times earnings. Everybody hates it, and we think that they're just not getting credit for the market position they have and the franchise they have.
And you like Monsanto, too.
We like Monsanto. We think the secular trend that exists in the ag space is here to stay for many, many decades to come. And frankly, we wish we owned more stocks in the space, but we'd like to add to those positions on pullbacks.
Brett, can we talk financials and banks for a minute? Because they're very important to the market, and they have been trailing, lagging badly. And I'm going to speculate they're trailing and lagging badly because the Treasury yield curve is flattening. It's still positive, but it's flattening a lot. Doesn't that take out their earnings and their net interest margins and give negative leadership to the market?
Yeah, I don't think the financials will be the leadership in the market going forward for the reason you just made, Larry, which is the yield curve is flattening. And I think that's the most troubling indicator in this whole economic system is this, 250 on a 10-year Treasury and 360 on a 30-year Treasury. And I would even extend it further and to say anybody that's seeking income is being challenged because not only are they faced with low interest rates, if they were receiving dividend rates, those are going to be double or tripled in the tax that the investors pay on those dividends. So we don't believe that the financial sector will lead us out of it just for exactly the same reason you said. Plus, they're still repairing from a very difficult period.
Well, you see, if you say financials won't lead, then I say stocks are in trouble because I think historically financials must lead stocks. But having said all that, what are your picks? What's your top investment idea right now?
Well, so I think for most investors, the healthcare sector provides something for everybody. You can invest it either through the pharma companies or use an ETF such as the Vanguard healthcare sector. I mean, there's something, it has high dividend yields. Just that ETF itself has about 3% yield. Historically, it's very defensive if this market stays in a trading range or moves down. And third, there's growth opportunity with the baby boomers demanding, outstanding pharmaceutical solutions and also, parts, medical equipment, then I think that sector is going to do quite well.
Harry, you didn't get to your short picks. Tell us what you're shorting right now.
Well, let's go back to the discussion on treasuries, and I think that Larry will agree with me on this. Treasuries, we're seeing just an enormous bubble. I mean, obviously with the Fed's unique strategy of sort of a shell game, if you will. We just see an enormous bubble building. But in the short term, we see we see some stability and maybe yields heading a little lower, but we're gradually building positions on the short side, and we think at some point it's going to be a
bloodbath.
But
Harry, my friend, bubbles have consequences, and one of the consequences is they're taking out banks.
Right.
Absolutely.
And second consequence could be even worse. They could take out a lot of things. But I just want to, please talk to me more about that, because I regard this as one of the bearish things.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it's our largest short position and continues to get bigger. And frankly, to your point, if these low yields cause bank prices to go up, we'd look to short banks also. So we just see enormous opportunity on the short side in treasuries, and frankly, some of these I would call overvalued tech stocks.
Okay.
We're shorting Salesforce.com into these earnings.
All right, Harry and Brett, thank you very much, gentlemen.
When we come back, Hewlett Packard and Dell reporting rising profits, but the street's more worried about their leadership and growth plans.